They call me the Shark Lady. The first time I heard somebody call me the Shark Lady, I was walking down the street, and this adorable little girl came up to me and she said, "I know you. You're the Shark Lady." And I said, "Hi. Hey, Kira, how are you?" She says, "You came to my school last week, and you talked about sharks and saving sharks and why we have to stop eating shark fin soup." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You know what? My grandmother loves shark fin soup." And after I told her why we need to stop, she stopped eating, and she says she'll never eat sharks again. And I was so happy. I was so proud. I said, "Thank you, Kira. That's wonderful." And that's a success story. And that's why I'm here today. I want to tell you about saving sharks and shark conservation. So, how did I get to become the Shark Lady? 4 years ago, in 2015, I was working in the corporate world. I was an ex-lawyer. I was recruiting lawyers. And unfortunately, my father died. And 2 months later, my mother had a heart attack. And it set me to thinking. I was contemplating life. What was life all about? So I decided I would start to give back and do some volunteering. And one of the organizations was Hong Kong Shark Foundation. I liked it. It was a great organization. And I was invited to hear a speech at the Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club by one of the founders, Jerry McLean. And Jerry gave an amazing talk about the shark crisis we're in. I was stunned. I was seriously shocked because I discovered that over 100 million sharks are killed every year. I thought, how could this be? How is it I've been eating shark fin soup, because I've been here for 30 years in Hong Kong. How is it I've been eating shark fin soup and I didn't know? You know, I used to be a lawyer. I considered myself very intelligent. Somewhat intelligent. Very educated. How was it that sharks are 1/3 near extinction? And was I contributing, had I been contributing to their demise by eating shark fin soup? I also learned that 50% of the global shark fin trade comes right here through Hong Kong. This picture, in fact, is taken in Kennedy Town, right near where I live. At that evening, I realized this is a global problem. But Hong Kong is a huge contributor to that global problem. But they're also a huge part of the solution. So I quit my job. And I became a full-time volunteer for the Hong Kong Shark Foundation. I fell in love with sharks. And there are a little bit over 400 species of sharks in the world, but only 9 are protected by law. 9. And as an ex-lawyer, I kept thinking, how could you possibly know which shark is it and which is protected and not? And my mind was boggled. So beautiful, majestic creatures, why were they being killed? Because shark fin soup is huge business in Hong Kong. Why is this man smiling? I asked my students. Most of them know. It doesn't matter, they're 5 or 8 years old, they know. He's smiling because of one word, money. It's such big business in Hong Kong that we discovered when we did a survey in 2016 that 98% of all the Chinese seafood restaurants in Hong Kong serve shark fin soup. 98%. The 2% only comes from the 3 restaurants we could find. Maybe there's more, but there were only 3 restaurants that, as a policy, don't serve shark fin soup. Here's the amazing thing. Did you know that shark fin soup has 0 taste? Because shark fin is actually cartilage, like your nose and your ears. There's no taste in that. It's like chewing on your nails. It's soft bone. And in fact, the taste comes from the broth that the chef makes. So if the chef wants to make the broth, out of chicken or pork or whatever, that's what the soup will taste like. Secondly, there are no health benefits. It doesn't cure AIDS. It doesn't cure cancer. It doesn't cure arthritis. There's no health benefit that we know of. So this young man, Mr. Mei Yao Chen, turns out to be what kind of started it all. In the Song Dynasty, about 960 AD, he wrote a poem. And the Song Dynasty emperor saw that poem, and he loved it. And it was about shark fin soup. And he said, we're going to have shark fin for all VIPs and dignitaries that come to our emperor kingdom, and we're going to serve it, and it's going to be fantastic because it's going to be a status symbol. Fast forward to today, we call it conspicuous consumption. And what does that mean? That means that when you go out with your friends, you order the most expensive things so that you can have 面子, right? So you can look good. And you put next to it your iPhone and your Gucci wallet, and you bring your Louis Vuitton, and you get out of your Lambo, right? This is conspicuous consumption. These are luxury items, and shark fin soup is now considered a luxury item, or it has been for a long time. But this is the problem. Because we fast forward to restaurants, and they took that idea of luxury and status symbol, and they decided that they would put together wedding plans for wedding banquets. And they would tell you that if you have these 4 things, 包sam qi tou, right, in Cantonese, or 包shen qi du, right, in Mandarin. If you have these 4 things, guess what? You're going to have a lucky marriage. That's right, right, guaranteed. But not so lucky for the sharks. Because it's not only cruel, they should cut the fins off and throw the shark back into the ocean to sink and suffocate, because when it doesn't have fins, it can't swim. But it's also unsustainable. Unsustainable. This is a word, I have to tell you, that in my lifetime, when I was your age, we didn't have this word. Everything was sustainable. But shark fin is definitely not sustainable. And why is that? Over 400 species, but sharks are late and slow reproducers. They have relatively few pups, and we're killing them faster than they can produce. We have faster boats, we have faster technology, we have GPS, we can track them. These animals are fantastic, but they're not that fantastic. They can't beat us on that. So, shark expert Rob Stewart, in his recent movie, Sharkwater Extinction, he said, the estimated shark populations have dropped by 90% in the last 30 years. 90%. And why is that? Overfishing, too much demand for fish, and not enough fish. They just can't reproduce fast enough to keep up with the overpopulation and the needs. But bycatch. And how I explain bycatch to my students is, if I only wanted the girl sharks in here, let's say your tuna and your swordfish, but I throw my net out there and I pull it all back in, what I get in the net is bycatch, even though the intended is tuna or swordfish. So if I get dolphins, or if I get tortoises, or I get sharks, well, I know a market where I can sell those too. So I know sharks are pretty scary, and we like to watch movies like Jaws or Megalodon. But what's really scary is that more people are killed by selfies every year than they are by sharks. Look it up. It's in Wikipedia, if you don't believe me. On average, 43 people killed by selfies, 6 to 8 people killed by sharks per year. So why should we protect sharks? Why are they so important, right? First of all, they're 400 million years old, and that's 200 million years older than dinosaurs. They've been around a long time. It's kind of their oceans, and we're just swimming in it. So why are sharks important? Well, they keep the oceans healthy. They are predators that control the fish population. They keep the ocean ecosystem balanced They prevent overgrazing. I'll give you an example. Off the coast of the United States on the Atlantic Ocean, you can find lots of scallops. And sharks were overfished in that area, and sharks were the natural predators to something called the cow-nose ray, like a stingray. And this ray loved to eat scallops. When the sharks disappeared, the scallops went crazy. The rays went crazy and ate the scallops, which resulted in a complete collapse of the scallop industry in 2007. So humans need healthy oceans, and sharks keep those oceans healthy. So at the Hong Kong Shark Foundation, which is a charity we were started 10 years ago, we have a mission, 5 words, to raise awareness about shark conservation. And so we came up with ways that we could educate people and students on how they can give back and how they can take action individually, small things, just like Kira. And I can tell you about the 3 Ps. The first P is pledge. You can take a pledge. I pledge to not eat shark fin soup. So when I go to schools, sometimes we get them to say, we put our arms together and we say no to shark fin soup. And that's an individual pledge. It's something that everybody in this room can do. Or you could work with your school. You could get your school to sign a school pledge. I have recently had one school, 560 students signed a pledge, and they send it to me. So I keep records of this, and then I use those as my statistics and KPIs for the year. You could get your company to sign up. That's fantastic. So there are many ways that you can have a fin-free school or a fin-free company or a fin-free home. Second P is petition. You could petition by email or online. You could petition an organization like Daoheng Group here, Daoheng Jituan, right? You can ask them, okay, hey, step up. Why don't you stop serving shark fin soup? Now, Daoheng has 80 Chinese seafood restaurants in Hong Kong and 80 in China. They're a pretty big company. So we're trying to persuade them right now to reevaluate their corporate social responsibility policy. And recently we got several hundred signatures, and we're almost over 1,000 signatures for this online. You can check it out. But you could do it yourself and just go on and make a petition against an organization that you found. You don't need us. The third P is to protest. Of course, O is peaceful, where we go out and we target companies that we first have petitioned and they haven't budged, and then we talk to them about protesting in front of their restaurants, and they're not so happy about that, but they see that the people are not happy about this. And here are some students at Hong Kong University, and we got together and we had a little peaceful protest, and I have good news. On September 18th of 2018, Maxime's group, maybe you know them from Maxime's Bakery, they own Starbucks franchise, they're very large here, they agreed to stop serving shark fin soup in all of their 55 seafood restaurants in 2020. And that's a success story. Another success story is Cathay Pacific. You've probably heard of them. And they were shipping shark products. And we said to them, your corporate social responsibility policy says that you don't hurt the environment. But we're telling you right now, your moving species that are most likely endangered is hurting the environment. And after a lot of talking, a little bit of protesting, success. They agreed. And in 2016, they stopped shipping shark products. Great news. So I am the education director for Hong Kong Shark Foundation. And as the director, education is very important to me. I'm a farmer. I'm planting seeds right now in all of you. And last year, I spoke to 6,200 students in Hong Kong, over 40 schools, by myself. And I hope in 2019, I can find some more volunteers and I can reach even more students. Now, we also have an education program called the Shark Ambassadors. And this focuses on secondary students, high school students. We're now in 5 high schools in Hong Kong. And what it does is it teaches them to be critical thinkers. It teaches them leadership skills. It teaches them how to think out of the box, to analyze what's the problem with sharks and shark conservation and eating shark fin soup, and what's the solution. So it gets students to think critically how they can analyze a problem and find solutions, which is what universities want, and this is what employers want. So with these students here, they not only helped us to raise awareness, they created a whole Shark Week where every day they had a new activity, which included a bake sale, which included wear the colors, which included every morning they had a movie going and a little quiz after it in each homeroom, and included them helping us fundraise. Because as a Hong Kong charity, we don't get funding from the government. We only get it from individuals, kind individuals like you, students who give a little bit, do what they can. And in that 1 week, we got the largest donation ever from a school, which was 12,000 Hong Kong dollars. Now, to us, that means a lot. That means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the students. So for us, the education program works out well. We also do community events like Shark Water Extinction Premiere, which was last week, and these are our volunteers having a good time at the end of the event. And if you have a chance to see this movie, I highly recommend it. But I would like to end with that volunteers are the lifeblood of any NGO or charity. And especially for us, this is super important to keep the volunteers coming, to ask volunteers to don't take, but to give back. And it is fun. It's for a great cause. So whether you are a shark lady or whether you are a little girl named Kira who wants to do what she can, you can make a difference. You can be the change for our future. You can help us raise awareness about shark conservation and save sharks. And please, say no to shark fin soup. Thank you.